Welcome back to my channel. I'm Pika Lee, and welcome to Writemas Day 3. Did I just rhyme on purpose or by accident? We're gonna watch a film courage video today where I react to talent without marketing won't get you far. So I find this really interesting because I just took a pre-production class and I am going to release a video about that as soon as I have it ready for you. And this was at the UCLA Extension program. And so I'm really curious as to see what it is about marketing and how they kind of propose you go about it. Because I think that they might be pretty right about talent without marketing not getting you very far. And I think this might be something very important for everybody to watch because for the fact that networking and doing all kinds of research in your field is something that you would have to do. You can't really do this part-time if you aim to make it your professional job. So you have to do a lot of outside work outside of your full-time job. Unfortunately, I know it's tiring and I hear it all the time, but something that you have to know that you are going to have to do at some point. So let's take a look.
People often turn away from what's possible or from actual career choices because they don't know how. How am I going to make that a reality?
Gary, why do you say talent comes second to marketing for anyone trying to make it in Hollywood?
We can never underestimate talent. Craft is everything, but it's not everything. Meaning, fundamentally, Hollywood is not a meritocracy. It's not always the best talent that rises to the top. It's not the best projects that get financed and produced and bought.
Very true.
It's often based on who has the best relationships. So while it's really important, and I trust that most creatives who really want to make it in the business are steadfast, they're committed, they're studying, they're writing multiple scripts, they're always improving. It's a process, it's a learning. So you're always getting better at your craft, and I don't underestimate the value of that.
You have to.
So talent's important, but talent that is not connected up with some form of effective marketing idea, an action plan, some kind of a roadmap to make sure that you and your body of work get noticed. It can't live in isolation. Talent has to have a platform. It has to be announced to the world and marketed. And I think that too many writers tend to ignore the business side, the marketing side, in favor of being very committed to their writing and hoping to get an agent. In other words, being passive in the face of what in any other industry would be considered perhaps unrealistic. So I think talent is not to be underestimated. It's why we're all here. But the talent needs a companion energy so that you are not a best kept secret.
He's absolutely right. A lot of writers I see in forums, they tend to ask a lot of questions about how do they get an agent? But the thing of it is, besides the fact that you need a polished script, it's also going to sort of take you marketing yourself for the agent to find you. Because agents don't just spend their days looking around. There's a lot of people who are throwing themselves at these agents already who probably have pretty polished work. So a lot of times you have to really do your research and really do some marketing, but you also need to be aware of the business side. I cannot even stress that enough because after taking my pre-production class, I realized how much of the business I didn't know and how much of the business you needed to know so that you make sure you're either not getting scammed, not being taken advantage of, or to make sure you're putting your knowledge to use and getting your material out to the right person. So very, very, very true.
Does that have to do with BizDev versus the sales mindset? Does that have anything?
Yeah, I mean, Certainly, I think in a way it does. The salesperson is someone who's working against quota within a given time horizon, and they're looking for a specific result, which is a sale. Their whole approach is geared toward getting the sale. The biz dev person has a totally different job definition. There's a different prism or lens that they're looking through. It's like the difference almost between, in the old version, agency and management. One was like income driven, commission driven, and the other was commission driven, but it was really about developing the talent, longer term mindset. The biz dev people with that responsibility set are really looking at.
And just quickly to what he's saying, agents and managers don't do the exact same thing. Agents are driven a little bit more, if I remember correctly, by income commission, the way that he states. So it's their job to keep getting you jobs so that they keep getting money. And the management side takes care of you in a way that the agents who have multiple people under them are probably not as focused on. And that's maybe changed by now. But at the moment, that is something that I have also heard. But of course, a lot of people have actually changed that roll up. So there's a lot of talk of agents actually, maybe small agencies, doing a lot more of development. But again, when you come to these people, you're supposed to already pretty much be established in some way. Maybe not established as in the industry, but established as someone who has polished, ready to go, ready to work, professionalism as a screenwriter. So that's really important.
At how do I nurture and develop the future business? And that's not about making sales today. That's about getting to know their business, about getting to know their customer, about getting to know their needs, their wants, and how we can develop a mutually beneficial relationship. It's being fundamentally other-focused. It's not about what I need today. It's about how can I help you now and into the future. Let's create that pathway so that I lock in a sense of loyalty and a deeper understanding, and then we can build together. So it's investment minded as opposed to sales minded. And I've used that analogy certainly for creatives. Like, be curious, be a business development person, build relationships, build toward a future without the urgency, without the anxiety. There's no stress in that. There's no need in that. Now it's just a gift of genuine curiosity about the other. And not keeping yourself a secret, share who you are and what you do and why you do it, why you care. What was the first moment when you knew you had to have go down this path and be a creative professional?
Christy Dreiling, she wrote LOL.
Yes, Christy's a dear friend.
Yeah, and I found her book accidentally somehow, and it was really fascinating to read, especially about her upbringing. And she talks about a poverty mindset.
Seems like he'd be like
and I'm curious
the kind of person
how we can all fall into that trap
from.
And maybe not even realize it.
Yeah, well, I think it's very common. Look, I think that we're unfortunately, I won't say miseducated, I'd say undereducated. I think there are, in our system, in our culture, there are a lot of what I consider really essentials that we're simply they're not in our curriculum, that we're not taught. We're not taught financial literacy. We're not taught mindset. We're not taught success principles.
We are not taught mindset.
It hasn't yet found its way into the body politic that is our educational system. And I think that a lot of people do fall into a poverty mindset. We are fed a steady diet through the internet, through the classic, traditional media, what have you, of sensational stories, because that's what sells. And it's often fear-based. And fear is powerful medicine. And most people are not immune to it. There's very few people who can see over that hedgerow and stay centered and stay present and stay committed to their vision and their and what's theirs to do. And we see that, COVID, we see it, like there's a uniform response amongst most people to bad news, and we see it all the time. And I think it sort of degrades our sense of manifest destiny and our vigor and our determination and belief in what's possible.
Applying the poverty mindset to being active, pitching, working on projects, not giving up, because that poverty mindset can permeate into other areas. It's not just financial poverty, it's also sort of lack of opportunity, the belief that you can't actually make something happen. Doesn't have to actually mean monetary
Which is
value.
why I love teaching mindset.
So how do we get ourselves out of that?
business.
Because some people could come from some, a stable middle class environment or upper middle class. They could probably still possess that poverty mindset, being told maybe you can't make a career out of this. Find a stable position where,
Weirdly enough, I was in a Facebook group, and it's a screenwriting Facebook group that's probably just called screenwriting. And there was a gentleman who was asking how he should direct his son to kind of veer away from screenwriting as a major. And he was, I guess he was top of his class. He had great opportunities to go to really big schools. And his dad really liked the fact that he wanted to be a writer, but didn't feel like there was any money in it. And even though his son, he was ready and willing to pay for him to go to this Ivy League school, he wanted to veer him away from actual study of screenwriting. He wanted to go anywhere else but screenwriting, something that was going to be traditionally bringing in money. But if you think about it, it's said all the time that those are even risky too. You can spend a lot of money on being a lawyer, but you still have to pay all that back. A lot of our writers have actually come from Ivy Leagues. So, yeah, consider that.
Yeah.
There's a pension. Very few jobs still have pensions, but
People often turn away from what's possible or from actual career choices because they don't know how. How am I going to make that a reality?
Yeah.
And my understanding of life
artists.
is it's really not that important to understand how. What's really important is to understand what you want, be really clear about what you want, and very clear about why you want it.
Yes.
And at that point, the how is, like a collaborative effort between you, the universe, and seeking out the people who know the how. They've been down that path.
That's true.
And finding your mentors and finding your collaborators, finding your partners, whatever it might be. But it's if you can't go in with that clarity, that story that's really true and clear and persuasive about, mostly to yourself. If you believe it, others will believe it, right? That's really persuasive about what it is that you want, why you want it, and what you're willing to do for it, that you're committed to it. The how just becomes the gap that needs to be filled in with information and relationships. And that's all available.
Yes.
It's the determination. And I think a lot of people get stopped before they get in the game because they don't think it's possible. They think it's too hard. They don't know how.
1000%.
They have all these ideas because it's easy not to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
It's easy to stay in your comfort zone, is another way of saying it. It takes a certain amount of courage to step out and do the thing that you fear others may judge you for, and by the way, that you may fail at, right? So it's easier to be safe and stay in your comfort zone and not take that risk, but it's really not. Because we only have one life. And regret is a terrible, terrible thing. Questioning yourself is not believing in yourself is not being willing to take risk and bet on yourself first. It's like chopping off an arm. It's just not a good way to treat yourself.
What an image.
And if you surround yourself with, no matter what your background, and granted, it's not an equal playing field. I think all souls are created equal. People are not. People's backgrounds and experiences are so different. And But I think we do have, we see so many examples of it. That kind of courage that makes people rise above a circumstance, say, I'm so committed to this. And no matter what my experience or what my background, I am going to find the people who are more successful, who are in the direction I want to move in. And I'm going to go there. I'm going to make them my target and my compatriots and what have you, my mentors.
You always want to learn from them.
I think it just, most people aren't natural born leaders, and they don't necessarily. I read a book years and years ago called The Slight Edge. Jeff Holson, I think, is the author. And in that book, there was he talks about habits, but the thing that makes it come to mind is there's a moment in the book when he talks about a sociological study that was done that determined that by the age of 5, which is first grade, that by the age of 5, a child has, on average, heard the word no 40,000 times. And that same child has heard the word yes 8,000 times. So literally 5 times the gravity holding that belief system, that human being down, as there is a yes energy uplifting or elevating or thinking, oh, these things are more possible for me. Mm-hmm. And that really stuck. Obviously, it stayed with me. I read that book years and years ago because I thought, my God, the math of that is really a heavy weight. So I think one of the keys is really take yourself out of the other comfort zone is don't necessarily settle for those who are your current tribe or community or the people you hang with, right? Like really make a decision that you're going to get with people who are the doers, not the dreamers, with the people who will believe in you, not the ones who will judge you. Like really consciously say, I deserve better. And I don't want to say it's like fake it till you make it, because I actually think everyone deserves it. But if you're willing to go after what you think you can grow into, what you deserve, increase your capacity, find the people who are going to say, yeah, we support you. We not only don't judge you, we encourage you.
You definitely want to experience life with a support system that will always, always help define you as that kind of person that they are. So you don't want to surround yourself with people who are negative. You don't want to surround yourself with people who are not going to believe in you, because that transfers over to you. And it's really important to bring yourself to the people who are going to uplift you or going to be there with you on the journey to tell you, I have done it too, and you can also. And someone who is going to bring the energy that you want to actually have in your life. So if you want to emulate a specific energy, you need to find someone who's going to give you that energy and teach you how to be that kind of person. All in all, I think this was a really great video. I highly enjoyed it. I love Film Courage, so if you haven't actually went over to their page before, check them out. They're amazing. Some of their videos are a little bit more aimed towards the filmmaking side, but a lot of them are really geared towards screenwriters, and I love that. I've been following them for years, and I'm going to continue to follow them because I really do love it. It's also great because some of their instructors are from UCLA, so if you're thinking about UCLA extension program, they've got some professors that already have done interviews with Film Courage before, so it'd be really cool to check those out. Well, thanks for being here with me for Writemas Day 3, and I hope to see you on Writemas Day 4. Bye, everybody.